you figure that, hey, I have to make so many more changes because it looks to me like I'm discovering that this is looking like my real customer. This whole effort accessible,
Right? Of course.
simple, and effective. You've entered stronger, you've entered with a lot more clarity, you've entered with a clear focus on what you have to achieve.
Today's guest doesn't just build brands, she builds bridges. From navigating identity shifts to decoding GTM strategies, she's journeyed through motherhood and marketing to emerge as a global strategist on a mission. She's the founder of UK Consulting, turning market chaos into GTM clarity with frameworks, fire, and a whole lot of heart. Please welcome Usha. So hi Usha,
Hello.
welcome to Dil Se Duniya Tak Talk series.
My pleasure. Always loved your concept, and I love Buxatil so much, and it's pure pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you. And you know what? Let's dive right in. Tell us about that personal crossroad when ambition and motherhood collided. How did that make you feel?
So, yeah, I think generally I do get asked this question a lot because how did this person who's just been so comfortable working in a job for so many years just thought of this idea, right? So it didn't happen organically, or it just didn't come to me that yeah, कल मैं resign करके परसों मैं ये start करने वाली हूँ. It also didn't come out to be a strategic, well thought of sort of an idea, really.
Right.
It was more, I was feeling super stuck at a point where I felt my growth was plateaued. I was at a crossroad where I was getting kind of sandwiched between this leader in me, this hunger that to grow further in my life, in my career, to be a great mother.
Right.
All of these things were just sort of making me feel like, what do I do next? It's not like I want to continue feeling sandwiched. So I just took a pause and wanted to dive into myself. Correct. Within.
It's like rediscovering your self identity.
Yeah, I connected. Yes, absolutely. I connected back to myself, and I think this was when my daughter was about 15 months old, and I took this plunge of just getting myself um, out there. I traveled alone for about 15 days, and to my surprise, as silly as it may sound, if it's for real. When you're by yourself for a couple of days, you do start to reinvent yourself, or just know yourself so much more. You'll feel I mean, I started to feel, why haven't I heard myself all these days? Where have I been? And no, I think when I came back with a lot more power,
Right.
a lot more clarity. The chaos started to feel very organic to me, and I sat down to do some Ikigai for real. Like, I literally sat down to do, what am I great at? What is going to get me my bread and butter? What am I going to love doing, and how am I going to do it all and be happy together?
Right.
Something that falls into all the three channels and makes me feel super happy. And that's when it came to my mind that something I've been doing for several businesses.
Correct.
And battling in these big companies to sort of make it right. I started to feel that there's a lot already in the whole skill of, uh, you know, marketing a product,
Right.
bridging a product gap into the customer's mind. All of these things, right, just felt so much more valuable to smaller businesses, to founders that are looking to that have great ideas, but they just don't know how to sort of go to the market. How do they go off the ground with their product, their service? So I just felt like, hey, somewhere I felt like an aha. This is just what I want to do. Um, and it just happened. It happened to me, and I was so sure, and I was so clear that the amount of questions that came my way, if this was really going to be one that founders will appreciate, one that they really need, I was very clear they do. I knew exactly what I was bringing to the table. I knew exactly how businesses were struggling. And if a little help that came in at the right point could really make a great deal of fun, very true, change their game, then why not? So I think that power that I came back with, I started putting it into all the businesses that I'm working for. I come in with a lot of passion, and I feel for everything that I take up right now, every business I take up, I feel like it's mine.
Of
So
course.
I'm typically like I'm your partner on board for 3 4 months, however long it takes, and yeah, I think that's how I felt, and I feel great. I felt so stuck back then. I felt too low. I felt a confident professional questioning herself, self doubting herself so much.
Right.
It only came to a point where it all just fell in place, and all of what I felt, I think I put it to some good use, and now I feel great about where I am.
Nikhil, now I of course see that. In your experience, what's the number one mistake founders make when trying to enter a new market?
I think a lot of I could safely say most businesses, what they do is once they think they're ready with, they have a great idea,
Right.
and if they're a product oriented company, they think they have started building the product and the MVP is close to getting done and whatever. Most of them start to look at promoting their services, products,
Correct.
going
Correct.
out to the market. For them, for most businesses, going out in the market means marketing the product. So
Right.
there's a lot of difference between having a market strategy vis-a-vis marketing your product already. Even before you get to creating your MVP, you need to know who you're creating it for.
Right. Very true. Of
So
course, you're
these
just
are
going in blind, na? There is
yes.
no
And
strategy.
then when you've built for one and you start to
Hmm.
sell it to the market, you figure that hey, I have to do make so many more changes because
Correct.
it looks to me like I'm discovering that this is looking like my real customer, and if he is my right customer, then I have to essentially take to market 2 3 and 4 in terms of
Right.
offerings as well. So then you figure that you've come this far only to go back 5 steps.
Right. Right. That comes when there is no planning.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think where I come in is really at the initial stages when you know you have a great idea
Correct.
conceptually, not on product already,
Right.
and you want to figure out who it is that you want to take it to. You want to figure out a right market strategy, so to say, the customer that you want to talk to, how do you talk to them, how do you know that customer better.
Correct.
These are the kind of investments businesses must make much before they
Absolutely.
start pumping into marketing a product with all the promotions, campaigns,
Right.
all the kind of budgets they start to pull in, and they feel like exhausted too soon. I can just tell you so many companies, right? I'll tell you one of these examples. On such instance, I feel so bad. I was talking to a business that's 3 year old.
3 years old.
3
Okay.
years old. This is the fourth year, and the founder comes to me and is like, I am exhausted.
Oh.
I do not have any more wisdom to pump in. I do not have any. I've come to a point where I feel like I have no more capability to take this more forward.
Oh.
I don't have any more investments to invest into this product that I
The
feel
whole
for.
morale goes down,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
absolutely. There's a clear case of burnout.
Right. Right.
Emotional burnout, financial burnout, pretty much all kind of burnout, right? The business goes through.
Of
You don't
course.
want to get to that point. And I'm not saying all businesses that don't invest in getting a right market strategy will end up into a burnout. But I'm just saying you won't start seeing the scale your product deserves. All your products and services deserve to win in the market. You
Right.
just need to know how
That's
and
your
take
baby,
it.
isn't it?
Absolutely. And I feel like that's the investment all businesses must make, and they often fail to make. So the biggest mistake is not, like I said in the first half, not already pumping into marketing instead of getting the market strategy right, but more into thinking about their products right. That's the
Right.
biggest mistake they
Makes a
start
lot of
to.
sense.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad I'm coming into filling that gap here, and I wish to work for as many businesses that I can to solve this gap for
It's
them.
gonna happen because people really do need that kind of push, that kind of strategy, and everything in place. As you said, it's their baby. It needs to be successful.
Absolutely.
So,
I feel pain when I hear a founder speak 3 years later and feels absolutely stuck
right.
and feels like, whatever I've done in these 3 years is now starting to go down. That's the worst thing to
To
see.
witness also, right, for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right. When you
So
also know that this could be so much bigger and different. If
yes, yes,
some things would have been put into place before the
yes,
launch or whatever, it would have been a very
absolutely,
different scenario.
absolutely. But I think most people also launch very like that's the whole point, right? The definition of launch. It's
Right.
so different for people. They think it's about marketing. They think it's about doing a press release or having a launch or launch event or something of that sort, and then you're done with it, and sales will just follow. No, they
It
wouldn't.
doesn't.
They wouldn't.
Right.
They wouldn't. You rather want to sort of live, breathe the market for
Mhm.
about 3, 4 months,
Right,
6 months
right, of
yourself
course.
before you actually prepare yourself for a launch. So yeah, I think um, I wouldn't say actually perspective. It's a hard truth. You've got to invest in your product much beyond just developing one.
Very true. I think that's
So
something businesses really need to. I think people are getting more educated and they know more now, of
hopefully,
course.
yes. Hopefully, I do a good job of educating enough businesses
Of
and
course.
reach out to enough. That's what I'm striving for at this point. And yeah, I think also while there are a lot of these incubation centers, there are a lot of these a lot of studios that help startups.
Right.
I have seen that this is one of the biggest misses even there, right? So
Okay. Not a lot of people know that.
not a lot of people would know it because and a lot of them also think that oh, getting an expert who can give me the right market strategy would mean a lot of consulting, a lot of time, and all of that. No, I think that's exactly where I've structured my program into just a 3, 4 month
Mm-hmm.
sort of engagement
Okay.
where things get more predictable, things get super tangible, and also you start to seeing the outcome of engaging with an expert as such because
Correct.
you'll start to feel more sure of what you've started off with.
Right.
You'll start to feel like you know where you want to head. You'll start to funnel your entire market so very well that your focus it just gets rode very organically. So then you know what's the next big thing I need to take
Right.
up, and everything starts to fall in right in place, and it'll show up results sooner than you would have
I
thought of.
think one thing people really struggle with is when you look at the big picture, it feels like a lot. So
Mm.
people don't want to do that. Oh, they think that it's a lot of work. But when you're making it like you're just making your program to look like, oh, this is doable, yeah, we can do this. So that
Absolutely,
is what
that's
is very
exactly.
important.
Oh, that's so very well said, Pujita. I want to make this whole effort accessible,
Right? Of course.
simple, and effective, all three at the same time, and it's got to be timeline based. It, otherwise, it just starts to feel like why
Correct, correct.
why do I do this? Why do I invest in another person, another system? Do I really want this or no? Too many questions for something
Right.
that's too big. Now, this becomes a very structured thing. You know exactly what you're getting into. You can pick on me a certain week and call me out on, hey, we got to get this done. This is
Hmm.
what we planned on. How do we get
Right.
this
To
into
become
motion?
accountability partners.
Absolutely. And then you collaborate so much in this 3 months that you just realize in the fourth month you've entered stronger, you've entered with a lot more clarity, you've entered with a clear focus on what you have to achieve. So I think, like I said, I think the whole quest is to sort of make this more simpler and accessible to
Correct.
most businesses, make them more aware, and having to get them to do it. Like it's, I think, the most important objective.
Makes a lot of sense. Now we know what you do and what you bring to the table. Let's go get to know you on a little personal level.
Sure, sounds fun.
It is fun. If your consulting style were a coffee, what would it be?
Okay, so I'm not too much of a coffee person, so I wouldn't know a lot of those,
Are
lot
you
of
a wine
what.
person then?
uh, could be, yeah, kind of. So I think I'd like to believe that my consulting style is more like a mocha shot.
Of course. Cute.
It's it's just that much, but it gives you the impact for the longer run. Like
Strong.
it gives you the impact of having that large, tall glass of coffee that you would have
Hmm.
otherwise had. So yeah, I think I'd like to believe it's more like a.
Mocha
a
shot.
mocha shot.
What's your go-to snack when you're deep in strategy mode?
Oh, I love eating peanuts.
Hmm.
That's like my go-to. Peanuts, all kinds of channa, batana, peanut, all of these kind of things are like
Very
my go-to.
health conscious, aren't
No,
you?
but I love doing that. Like when you're doing
Ah,
that and you're grinding in your mouth while you're working, it just sort of it all jams very well.
very true, very true. When you're doing something, you just whatever is around you, you're just like, okay, I'm gonna eat, and it
Yeah, it's also
helps.
very it's dry, it's nice. You can eat as many.
True, true,
So
true.
I think for me, it's a lot of these nuts and yeah.
If you weren't a growth strategist, you'd be a.
I think I'd be a dancer.
Oh wow, you're great at dancing though. I've witnessed that.
I love dancing, and I wish I pursued it seriously from my childhood. For some reason, I didn't. But yeah, I think a lot of people need a lot of things to get high. I think for me, it's just music and me on the floor.
Lovely. What's your power outfit on a day full of pitches?
Okay, this one's a little close to my heart because ever since I've been a little kid, and it wasn't looking at a person, or it wasn't about looking at a boardroom or a business center that I discovered that I want to be a businesswoman and thick into business and stuff like that. It was really just looking at a lot of those magazines,
Hmm.
these power girls sitting, getting themselves a seat at the table, calling the shots. I was like, okay, that's something that I really love. So for me, a power attire would be more like a complete suit.
Of course.
Yeah,
Oh, so fun.
yeah. I would love investing my time into curating one and wearing it and feeling the joy of
Like a
wearing
boss
it.
babe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I love it. Yeah, so
What is a
maybe.
book that changed your life?
Um, so I've read Good Strategy, Bad Strategy a bunch of times.
Okay.
I, every time I go back and read that book, and it's not like that. It's not like that's just the best in that genre. There are a lot of such books. I keep reading a lot of them, but somehow I have some sort of a connect with that book because every time I go back to reading it, and I'm sort of reading different other businesses, initiatives, how do they maneuver through the dynamics of just being there,
Right.
of just sustaining themselves and stuff like that. I think it just gives me a lot of power to go on, to pull on, to yeah, keep going
Right.
stronger. So
That's
I think
wonderful.
yeah, that's one book.
The best part about working with the early stage startups, what would be the
Oh,
best part?
I think the person I am right now, it's one because I've always put myself in early stage startups.
Right.
All my life, I worked only for startups. In fact, for startups that originated from Hyderabad, and I've gone places. I've seen a couple
Wow.
of them grow during my stint with them, and a few others that dissolved because they found themselves being irrelevant for the
Right.
times.
Right.
Both were great learnings for me, and it just makes you so robust to. I think situations don't matter.
True.
You just become the stronger person to deal with, to look at vision and to thrive for vision, not
Very
for
true.
situations on a daily basis. So it just makes you that person. And I've pretty much, like, if you look at my, where I started off doing business development and selling, and then I graduated into partner support, partner management, and all that. And then I landed into product management for, I don't know how, but I landed myself there. And then that was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to see, you know what? The marketing person in me um, just started to look at product very differently.
Right.
And that's when I started to figure that I wanted to do product marketing. Got a chance to do it for two companies in these. I mean, both the companies I worked for in the at the end of my job life. They're both great companies. Got to learn so much exposure, and I think all of that has sort of made me more confident to do what I'm doing right now for smaller businesses that will need it.
Right. It was your calling, wasn't it? Somewhere.
I don't know. I think a lot of times when you say the word calling, it makes me feel like a lot of them say that this is my calling. But मुझे पता नहीं था. I was just going with the flow. Things
Fell
just
into
sort of
place?
fell into place when I started to pen down my Ikigai, and I started to work on that framework. I was like, I love dancing. I love workouts. I've trained myself to be a coach
Right.
in the wellness fitness world. I'm in the verge of maybe in about a year, I'll set myself up to do that as a profession. And then I took two steps back and I was like, well, what's my skill today that I have honed for the last bunch of years?
Very true.
And then, somewhere you'll start to feel you want to level up where you're
Right.
at, right? Job, level up. I was like, okay, I'll take the skill, I'll give it back to the world of business that made me who I am today. I'm going to give it back the skill that the world had given me, the world of
Lovely.
business given me, and make a bunch of businesses more empowered and successful.
Lovely. Would you rather pitch to 100 investors or attend a PTA meeting?
I would any day attend a PTA meeting.
Wow.
I would any day attend a PTA meeting if it's a choice between a PTA and meeting a bunch of investors, because that's something I can't call back. This is something I can always, I can always make it happen again. But yeah, I think a PTA is one that you don't want to miss for a bunch of years. Not after they don't need you. Can you call yourself into a PTA? So as long as it's my space, I would like to be there.
Okay. One corporate buzzword you secretly can't stand.
That I can't stand. Corporate buzzword. I don't know. I don't think I think I'm so obsessed with everything corporate, everything business that I just embrace everything that comes with it. I don't think I have
Wow.
any such word that comes to my mind that I don't. None at all.
That's interesting.
You should actually tell me a couple of those buzzwords. I'm starting to think now that I'm not thinking enough about it. What are these buzzwords?
We'll come back to that again. What's your love language professionally? Clarity, curiosity, collaboration, or whatever it may be.
um, I think simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say while that I like it to be that my love language like professionally has to be, I want it to be simplistic, but I think I am still discovering it myself. I'm on that journey.
Makes sense.
I The intention is solid. Hopefully I come through and make things simpler.
Your Ikigai in one line.
uh, how do you say it? How does ikigai how is ikigai said in one line?
You make it happen.
um I think my daily driver, which I also tell a lot of business, like whoever I meet in the day, is let's do this.
Right.
Let's do what matters and let's do it together. So for me, it's let's do what matters together. That's my ikigai.
What's next for UK consulting?
There are a lot of next I've already put myself into, and I'm super thrilled where I'm at. I just want to keep going. Yeah.
We'll do it. Thank you for sharing your story and your heart, of course. From frameworks to feelings, you've shown that growth isn't just about markets, it's about meaning. And we got to know you and what you do and everything in between. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today.
It was absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Buxar is always going to be very, very special to me.
You are very special to us as well.